Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Good morning here at the Spirit Studios, and good morning online. For those of you that are live streaming us, my name is Sarah Taylor, and I'm the music director here at Spirit 1053. And so for those of you in the room, well, actually, for those of you online, if you want to be in the room in the future, you sign up for our music team at spirit1053.com. And then that's how you get to be in here. You guys want to make some noise so they can hear you? And also, if you want to see our next guest in concert today for free, we're actually going to be at One Cup in Shoreline. So you can come and grab an iced coffee. You can bring your family. He's going to be there starting at 10:30 today. And then the performance is around 11, but you want to get there at 10:30 to secure your spot. And again, that's One Cup in Shoreline. We have the address on our website. So all the way from Texas. So this is a cool down for him. When we're all sweating, he's like, what are you talking about? And he was just performing in Bellingham last night, on air this morning with Anna. So thank you for all of your time. Would you please welcome Micah Tyler?
What's up, everybody? I don't know how they fit 4,000 people in this room. It's incredible. Thanks for the turnout. What a blessing. No, I am super stoked to be here. So are all these like this is a camera right here, and there's a camera right there. I'm going to try to keep, and there's another one. Amazing. Okay. I will try to keep my adult ADD at a minimum for this entire thing and not just creep everyone out the whole time. And so just going to ignore all those here. No, it is a joy. I came all the way from Buna, Texas. Anybody from Buna? You're a liar. But Southeast Texas, I mean, we're close enough neighbors, because if you were from Buna, then who would be shopping at both of our dollar stores? So if you're here and I'm here, then who's keeping the economy afloat? So you put those two dollar stores together, it's like 1/5 of a Walmart. So a little Southeast Texas math for you. No, I'm super stoked. This is the first time I get to actually hang out in Seattle, and so I've heard about Pike's Place. We're going to try to go do that at some point, maybe, and just apparently just watch out for the fish, and then you guys have a gum wall, so that's a cool thing. Is that like you got to go check out the gum wall? I'm like, we have gum in Texas, and we just keep it in our mouths and enjoy it, but I'm sure it smells amazing over there. No. So yeah, it's fun. I've been traveling now full time for about it'll be 8 years in January that I've been doing music full time. Born and raised in Buna, Texas, the unincorporated township. Like, we don't have a mayor. Like, it's a town. It's not even a city. Like, it's more like a village than anything else. We have a redbud king and queen, but it's more of a figurehead position, not a. We don't want to talk about politics. We born and raised in this little town when I was 17 years old, as junior in high school, and I felt the Lord calling me into ministry, and so I wanted to be a youth pastor. My senior year, I started dating a girl named Casey, and we've been married now for almost 15 years, which is fun, and we have 3 kiddos. We've got a 12-year-old Noah, and a 10-year-old Hannah, and an almost 5-year-old Seth, and so. It's kind of fun doing the dad thing and the husband thing, but man, was a youth pastor for 9 years. After high school, right out of high school, I was 18 years old, became a youth pastor at a little church. We had 7 students the first week that I was there, and the second week we had 5. So I lost 30% of the youth group the first week I was there, so rough beginnings. But ended up staying and did youth ministry in my hometown of Buna for 9 years. When I was 20, I decided to buy a guitar because I wanted somebody to learn how to play this guitar in my youth group, and then they could lead worship, and then I would preach, and then like somebody I'm sure bought Chris Tomlin a guitar, so I could be the guy who bought Chris Tomlin a guitar, and like and I'd be like, oh, you're welcome, but then they didn't learn it. Like, none of them even wanted to play it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I guess I should learn. So I just picked it up, and like I remember learning, open the eyes of my heart, Lord. And I remember going into the youth room, I was like, okay, we're going to have music this week. And they go, oh. And so I get up there and open the eyes of my heart, Lord. And they're like, yo, we have music now. And they're singing, and they're like, that was awesome. And the second week I walked in, and I was like, all right, open the eyes of my, and they're like, oh, it's great. And then the third week I said, whoop, and they said, can you learn another song? So I learned another one. And I feel like that's been my life now for the last 15 years, is just learning one more song that people don't get tired of. It's kind of like that's my profession now. So I did start leading worship for friends in the area. I would get phone calls from buddies saying, hey man, I heard you're doing a little bit of music now while you're a youth pastor. I'm like, yeah. And so we can't afford to bring in a real band. Could you come in and do it? Which is a weird way to compliment somebody. It's like, we can't afford like an actual musician. So do you think you could? So I started just doing I was just the cheap option for my friends to kind of come in and do things. And then at 27, we didn't have Seth at the time, but Noah and Hannah were like 3 and 5. We'd been at the church that we were at for about 6 years, and God was doing some amazing stuff. Loved doing youth ministry. But the Lord kind of changed what faithfulness looked like in our hearts. And so faithfulness for us at the time was being a youth pastor, being a dad, being a husband, being home, doing those kind of things. But we felt like that faithfulness looked like music. And it wasn't because we knew somebody. It wasn't because we had someone to tour with or had a record label or anything like that. It was just Jesus. There are no roads that lead from Buna, Texas to Nashville, Tennessee anyway. And so we're going like, what are we going to do? But we wanted to be faithful. Like that was the end of the day. It was like the Lord is not going to say, well done, that good and successful CCM artist. It's faithful servant. And we're like, Lord, we just want to be faithful. So we ended up selling over half of what we owned. We bought a single wide mobile home trailer and put it on some borrowed land in Buna. I started doing odd jobs. I was a substitute teacher at an elementary school, and I drove a sausage delivery truck, which is a real job. How do you think you get your sausage? Me. I did it. And it's not near as glamorous. It's not like me like driving down the road and just like throwing sausage out the window like a paper route. It's not like, that would be amazing, but health code is a different thing. But did that and played a little bit of music. Played like 50 days the first year, and kind of at times just felt like, Lord, what is happening? I'd wake up at 2:30 in the morning to go drive this truck. I'd get home in the afternoon, be exhausted, and I would go in my room and I'd kind of work on a few songs. And not knowing that the Lord was going to call us out to do all these things. And in the last year, was able to have a couple of songs on Christian radio, signed a record deal, got to go on tour with guys like Mercy Me and with Big Daddy Weave and Jeremy Camp, and got to... I was even nominated for New Artist of the Year at the Dove Awards. I lost, so that's fine. Just Zach Williams again. And so, no, I love him. Zach, if you're watching, I'd never offend you. You're gigantic. But in the midst of all this stuff, and like all this exciting thing, can I just tell you something? The Lord has been just as faithful to my family right now in the midst of this really cool season as he was waking up at 2:30 in the morning driving a truck, as he was whenever we were saying, Lord, we want to follow you and trust you in this, and we'll sell it all just to be faithful to you. He was just as faithful when I was 18 years old, taking a youth pastor position at a church that they probably shouldn't have given me, He was just as faithful at 20 when we got married because we loved each other so much, we wanted to make each other as poor as fast as possible. We just loved each other too much. He was just as faithful at 17 years old at Newton, Texas, at East Texas Baptist Encampment, when I'm on my knees and just saying, Lord, if you'll let me follow you in ministry, I'll do whatever you ask me to do for the rest of my life. He's just as faithful at 10 years old at Vacation Bible School when he called my heart to know who he was. And we're still learning through all of this. The first song I wrote when I signed a record deal was this song that kind of became just a testimony song for me, not knowing that it was going to be other people's stories too. But that's where the song Never Been a Moment came from. See, I've been a sinner, I've been a saint, a little bit of both every single day. I've been lost, but somehow I've been found. There's been some pain, been some regret, been some moments I'll never forget. But when I look back from where I'm standing now, there's never been a moment I was not held inside your arms. And there's never been a day when you were not who you said you are. 'Cause forever it don't matter what I'm walking through. So no matter where I'm going, there's never been a moment that I was not loved by you, loved by you, loved by you. You've been the rock, you've been the peace, always show your good heart to me. My days are marked by grace I don't deserve, no. You've been the price I could never pay. You've been the light that has led the way. No matter where I am, oh, I am sure there's never been a moment I was not held inside your arms. And there's never been a day when you were not who you said you are. So no matter where I'm going, there's never been a moment Did you guys see my hat spinning the entire time I was singing? It almost felt like a propeller kind of a thing. I was like, this is going to be backwards in a minute, which I kind of was like, I should just leave it and see how far we can get. It's dumb. When you write a song called Never Been a Moment, the Lord wants to keep you honest on those things. It's like when you say something, you got to back it up kind of a deal. So I'm running around telling people there's never been a moment. And the deal is, you heard my story, man. Like, the Lord has been so faithful. Every time that we look forward and saw a sacrifice that we had to make to follow him, every time we got on the other side of that sacrifice and we look back, we just saw faithfulness. It was like, oh no, you were here the whole time. Like, it wasn't like we've never had to sacrifice something that we look back and we're like, well, that was just in vain. It never has been. It's always been purposeful. But when you write that song and you're telling people about it, I think the Lord wants to take you deeper into things. And so I know Ty knows this, but about 11 months ago, a little storm came through Southeast Texas and came through Houston, Texas, Hurricane Harvey. And I was on tour with Big Daddy Weave at the time and was in Arizona. And we knew it was going to be bad. We knew it was coming that way. But no one knew the devastation that was coming. But a couple of days before, the news programs were like, okay, this is going to be different. This is not going to be the same thing that we've seen before. Like, everyone needs to get ready for this. And my wife called me. I woke up on a bus at 9 o'clock in the morning in Phoenix, and she said, Micah, it's going to hit us. And I'm going, like, how bad? She said, we don't know how bad it's going to be. They're saying that we shouldn't have to evacuate, maybe because we still live in that mobile home 3 feet off the ground. So the good news about living 3 feet off the ground in a mobile home is that you've got 3 feet of space to be able to get for the water to get to. And so we were like, I said, what do I need to do? And she said, I don't know, maybe you should come home, but I don't want to take you away. And so I went and talked to the Big Daddy Weave guys and Darren from We Are Messengers, I know you guys love too. And they were just like, go home. And so I ended up flying out that afternoon to Dallas, Texas, drove 5 hours into the night, got in my house at 3 o'clock in the morning, about 6 or 7 hours before the rain started. And I sat on my couch with my wife and our kids, and we just waited, just waiting. And the rain started coming. It just kept coming. We had 50 inches of rain in 2 days. And in the middle of all that, I'm watching the Facebook page, and I'm seeing houses that have water coming up in the floor. Our dean from the headmaster from our kids' school they go to had 11 feet of water in his house. They canoed back into his home 5 days after the storm just to see what the damage was, see what was floating, and see what was still hanging on the walls. Bridges are falling down 15 miles from us, and I'm sitting there with my phone, and it just keeps going, voot, voot, and it's hurricane warnings, and it's flood warnings, and it's all these tornado warnings. All these crazy things are happening. And I'm going, Lord, what is happening? Like, could you please protect my home? Would you protect my family? And he did. Praise the Lord, he protected our family. And what I thought he protected our home with, because no water got into our house, we had 1.5 feet of rushing water for almost a day under our house. And so we made it out, and we're like, praise God. So we're running around, and we're like bringing things to shelters, and we're like, people like Buna, Texas, in all of its glory. We don't have, like, Facebook is such a big deal over there right now. It's like the internet's kind of cool right now for us. You're like, we got the internet. Like, there's life outside. Outside. That sounds really Southeast Texas. And but like, they're like, we need dog bowls, because they're picking up people in boats and bringing them to Buna High School and dropping them off. Our little town came together and make this makeshift shelter. And when FEMA came in to come take it over, they said, this is the best shelter we've ever seen independent people doing. And it's just hometown folk on Facebook going like, we need blankets, we need cots. And we're like going, so we're just raiding the dollar stores. You know, like everything, like the dollar stores just racked up for the whole thing. And we thought we were okay until about a month afterwards, we started noticing our floor was soft and our walls were soft. And we realized that our house had dropped 3 inches on one side where it washed it out, 2 inches on one side, 1.5 inches on the other, and 0.5 inch on the other end. I fell through our kitchen. I'm walking through our floor one night, turning off lights, and all of a sudden I'm halfway into the floor. And it's because the storm had completely crippled the bottom end of our house. 2 weeks ago, we had the floors finally replaced and the walls replaced. Praise the Lord for that. But 10.5 months of walking around holes in the floor and just putting plywood and just saying, Lord, would you bring somebody to help us out? We asked him to be protector, and he wasn't in those places. And that was hard. But can I just tell you, though, he did protect my family. And then we got to know him as provider on the other side of it. Then a couple weeks after the storm, we found out that my younger brother, Daniel, had stage 4 colon cancer. And it was I was like, Lord, what is happening right now? We just survived this incredible storm, and like there are people hurting all around us, and like this is a whole new level because we can't put boards over this. And so he takes round 21 of chemo next week. I've asked the Lord to be healer, and he hasn't yet. I know he can, but he hasn't yet. But can I tell you what he's been? He's been comforter. So in the places where he hasn't been protector, he's been provider. In the places where he hasn't been healer, he's been comforter. And you know what? We trust Jesus more today than we did before a storm. I wrote a song a couple of years ago that the Lord kind of time capsuled for a moment like this. It has a new life and a new breath for us right now. And it's this thing of like, there's been a lot of times the last 10 months where I just wake up not feeling like doing it all. Not feeling like trusting the Lord. I let my insecurities and my fears kind of dictate how I'm going to feel that day. You know how it feels. But the thing about the Lord is in the midst of all this stuff changing and everything just rearranging in our lives right now, he has stayed the same. And his word and his promises have not changed. And he has remained a steady place for us to rest our heart against every single day. And we wake up in the morning and we trust the promises of God over how we just feel that day. Because Proverbs says that the fool trusts his own heart. But if we lean not on our own understanding, but on the faith that the Lord has given to us, then that's a place that we can trust him even then. So this song has kind of become something that has become really special to our family. It's been very special to our area. And there's just lines in it that say, even when the waters won't stop rising, and even when I'm caught in the dead of night, I know, no matter how this ends, I'll trust you even then. A year before the storm came, we're writing these lyrics thinking they're going to be for somebody else. It was for us all along. And on the nights when the dark lasts a little bit longer, and when the wind and the storm is a little bit stronger, when the fear in my heart digs a little bit deeper, and my faith to stand gets a little bit weaker, where could I run to? Where could I go? And even when it feels like my world is shaking, even when I've had all that I can take, I know you never let me go. No. And even when the waters won't stop rising, even when I'm caught in the dead of night, I know no matter how it is, you with me even there. And when the days up ahead look a little bit brighter, but the grip of my past holds a little bit tighter, I'm reminded your grace never asks for perfection. Ooh, 'cause I'm restored 'cause I'm yours and I stand forgiven. Ooh, yes. Even when it feels like my world is shaking, even when I've had all that I can take, I know you never let me go. No. And even when the waters won't stop rising, even when I'm caught in the dead of night, I know no matter how it is, you're with me even there. And even in the middle of my struggles, and even when it's hard to remember, you alone are my defense when I'm standing on your promises. And I know that even in the thick of the battles, and even through the valley of my shadows, you alone are my defense when I'm standing on your promises. So where could I run to? Where could I go? Even when it feels like my world is shaking, even when I've had all that I can take, I know you never let me go. And I know that even when the water stop rising, even when I'm caught in the dead of night, I know no matter how it is, you're with me even then. What a joy. Really. Yeah, it is still something that is so alarming to me. Because I still live in Buna. The house is, the trailer is fixed now. We're planning on selling that guy and building something, build something a little high up. And, but it's still wild to me. So you think I'm joking about the internet being in Buna? When we moved in 8 years ago, we called the local internet provider, and they were like, I was like, yeah, I need to get some internet at our house. They said, okay, yeah, we'll be out there. We'll bring you some internet here in just a little bit. Some internet. And I was like, okay, great. And so they showed up, and they looked it all in. It was great. And my neighbor saw the truck outside, and he comes over, he goes, what is happening? I said, well, I just got internet. They said they didn't have any. And I was like, well, I'm not kidding. He called them up, and he goes, this is a reputable company. He goes, yeah, my neighbor just got some internet, and I was wanting to see if I could get some too. And they're like, oh man, we are smooth out of internet over here right now. As if there was like a jar of internet and we got the last one. It's such a, like we just scooped the bottom clean just now. It's amazing. But it is still, like, for real, it's incredible when I show up somewhere and people already know the songs. Like that, I'm telling you, like it's not missed on us at our house that we pray and just thank the Lord every time that there's a station out there that will partner up with songs that were written in a bedroom, songs that were written coming out of a real story, and then it goes out and then it gets into hospital rooms. And it gets out to be able to reach the gospel to people who need it. It gets into prisons, and people are singing songs in prison. That there are songs that I wrote that I thought were going to be these very small, like the prayer closet little moments for me that end up being these anthems for people. And I get emails from people all the time that are saying, we were on our way to divorce court, and we heard your song, and we turned the car around, and we're working through counseling right now. One of the stories that has completely changed my life forever, I was driving the truck, and I wrote a little album, and I went to the local DJ at 88.1 in Beaumont, Texas, okay? Just this little place, Jeff Roberts, okay? And he's a Sunday school teacher in Buna, and he's at the big city of Beaumont, Texas, where the station's at. And I remember I made this little record, and it was the Micah Tyler band at the time, and the record was called Better, even though it was the worst. And I called him, and I was like, hey man, can I just be a little bold? And I thought this was the greatest plan that I could do. I was like, hey man, if I bring you one of my CDs, would you listen to it? And I just want to know feedback from you. And this is the clincher. I was like, and if you'll do that, I'll take you to Chili's for lunch. Like I thought I was bringing the heat. Like how can he turn this down? I mean, the appetizers alone, and he said, yeah. He said, yes. And so we meet at Chili's in Silsbee, Texas. And I'm just like, you can get whatever you want. And within reason, I still am driving a sausage truck. And I remember him telling me, he's like, this song right here, this song, I really like this song. And this song right here. And then he said, and this song right here sounds good on the radio. I was like, do you think it could? And he goes, no, I've been playing it all weekend long. What he didn't know was that I couldn't get the signal in Buna, so you got to drive to Silsbee to hear Beaumont. And so it's like the internet out there. You can't get it all the way everywhere. And so he started playing my songs. He played 2 or 3, and there's this one song called Mighty to Love that just said, you are here, and you are strong. You're mighty to save us from all of the wrong. From the first sunrise till the day the sun falls, you hold us together, 'cause you're mighty to love. You're mighty love. Love, love, love. You're mighty love. Love, 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 love. Just a simple little like lullaby prayer song. And it was the third song he played of mine. He started playing on the radio, and he said, then we want to have a listener appreciation concert. And I was like, do people listen? Because I would appreciate that. And so they're like, yeah, we're going to have it at this church. And I was like, okay. I'm thinking like, there's like 30 people there. And they sold it. I was like 550 people show up for this little show. And I'm going like, oh my gosh, we never played in front of this many people. And I remember getting up there, and it was the weirdest thing because I'm singing these songs and people are singing along. And I'm going like, what is happening right now? And I remember, I'll never forget this. I'm standing in, I go to my merch table every night. I'm out there, and people are coming by, and they're just saying, I told them I'd give them a hug, sign something, whatever. You know, I'm just grateful they're there. And this young lady walks up. She had been 21, 22 years old, and she comes up and she just says, she said, I just wanted you to know, I've had a kind of a troubled story. And she said, I've been through a lot. It's okay. And she said, I got in a relationship with a guy. He was not a very good guy a little while back. And we started dating, and I ended up, I'm pregnant. I got pregnant. And I said, okay. And she said, and it was hard, man. We didn't know what to do. And I went to him, and I was like, hey, I'm pregnant. And he goes, well, you need to go have that taken care of because I'm not going to stick around for you, and I'm sure not sticking around for a baby. And she's just heartbroken, so she goes to her parents, and her parents said the same thing, like, this is not good for you. You need to go get this taken care of. So she said she'd never listened to Christian music before or anything, and she's on her way to the clinic for her appointment. And she said, God, I just need it. I don't even know you, but I need to hear something. And she said, she starts flipping through the dials, and she can't find anything. And lo and behold, she was within range, apparently. And out comes 88.1. You are here. You are strong. And she said, I heard your song. She said, I pulled over. I just wept. She said, I want to introduce you to my son. I'm just falling to pieces. Because the thing is, it's not about a song. It's the gospel. And you guys carry that here. And you at home, this station is doing something to try to reach out and affect not just your ears, but your hearts. And so for me to show up places I've never been before and to hear stories from people that I've never talked to before, it still just gets me every time. And golly, this is not supposed to be a sad Facebook Live, I'm sure. I have talked about hurricane and cancer, so I guess it's all within the range. But the thing is, this song in particular has been very special for our family, and some of the most special stories I've heard has come from this song. And I know you guys have partnered with this song, and it means so much. I'm not telling you thank you that you spun my song. I'm saying thank you for partnering with our ministry, and it's an honor to get to do that. And for those of you at home right now, man, if you're listening to this in your car, if you're in your car, don't watch Facebook while you're in your car. Pull over for a second. But I want you to know that the Lord puts us in situations sometimes, and he gives us the opportunity to ask him, God, can you change these things? Because he's healer, and I know he can heal my brother. And I know he's protector. I know he can protect my home, but sometimes he doesn't. It's in those moments where we can do two things. Either number one, we can say, okay, then I'm just done with this. Or we can say, then God, if you're choosing not to change the things around me, can you change something inside of me so that I can handle these things that you're walking me through? And he has done that for our family in ways that I never even knew that he could. And I trust the Lord more today than 10 months ago before the storm came, before the cancer came. Because he's a difference maker. And he's been a difference maker for our family and for our home. And this song is that testament to what he's been doing in us and for us. And again, wrote this before the storm, not knowing that I would need it desperately one day. But it's kind of been this daily prayer ever since. Maybe it'll be a prayer for you too. And I don't want to hear anymore. Teach me to listen. And I don't want to see anymore. Give me a vision that you could move this heart to be set apart. I don't need to recognize the man in the mirror, 'cause I don't want to trade your plans for something familiar. And I can't waste a day, and I can't stay the same. I want to be different, I want to be changed, till all of me is gone and all that remains is a fire so bright the whole world can see that there's something different. So come and be different in me. 'cause I don't want to spend my life stuck in a pattern. And I don't want to gain this world but lose what matters. And so I'm giving up everything because I want to be different. I want to be changed till all of me is gone, and all that remains is a fire so bright the whole world can see that there's something different. So come and be different. Oh, I know that I am far from perfect, but through you the cross still says I'm worth it. So take this beating in my heart and come and finish what you've started. When they see me, let them see you, 'cause I just wanna be different. Yeah. Oh, I wanna be different. I wanna be changed till all of me is gone, and all that remains. Oh, is a fire so bright the whole world can see that there's something different. So come and be different. I just wanna be different. So could you be different in me? Oh. Super grateful to be here. I know the One Cup Coffee Shop. I don't even know where that is. I am hoping that is not a minimum. You could probably get 2 or 3 if you wanted them, because I'll play more than just one song. And so why don't you just have a cup of song? But was it start at noon today? 11 today? I am literally just being driven around. And so whenever I show up, I'm going to start playing some songs when I get there. So, man, come hang out. It's going to be a fun time. Thanks for tuning in right now. Thank you guys for having me out here today. And God bless you guys. Love y'all.